This is going to be part one of dependent and independent clauses to hopefully help you understand the difference. So one of the first things that you ever learned when you were starting to write was that you had to have a complete sentence. And that means that your sentence had to have a subject and it had to have a predicate. So you had to have a noun and verb team or a subject and verb team like one of the other videos said. So I want you to look at the first 5 sentences. The directions at the top say when the dependent clause comes first, we have to separate the dependent and the independent with a comma. The example is, after I washed the dishes, I swept the floor. So this right here is dependent, and this right here is independent. So what we're going to do is we're going to circle the dependent clause, and we're going to underline the independent clause, okay? Before I go to school, I feed my pet turtle. So I'm going to ask myself, which part of that sentence, okay, here's the comma, which part of that sentence is complete by itself? It doesn't need anything else. So that means that it has to have a subject and a verb. This part right here, I feed my pet turtle, can stand alone by itself. If I just said before I go to school, you're going to be wondering what in the world I'm talking about. Okay, you're still going to be sitting there waiting for me to finish my thought. Look at sentence number 2. When my dog barks loudly, I think someone is at the door. I think someone is at the door. That can be a complete thought. Here's my subject and here's my verb. Okay? When I look at the first part of that sentence, when my dog barks loudly, that's not finishing the thought. That's not telling me everything I need to know. So this part right here is my dependent clause. Okay? Comma, if it rains too long, the game might be canceled. The game might be canceled is a complete sentence. If I said that to you, the game might be canceled, you know exactly what I'm talking about and what it is that I'm telling you. If I just said, if it rains too long, you're going to wonder what it is that I'm trying to tell you, right? What about if it rains too long? Okay? The fourth sentence, while we celebrated my birthday, I began to feel sick. I began to feel sick can stand alone by itself. Who are we talking about? I. What did I do? I began to feel sick. Okay? So this part right here, while we celebrated my birthday, cannot be a complete sentence by itself. The last one, since my brother is older, comma, he gets to go to a sleepover. He gets to go to a sleepover. He is the subject, gets to go to a sleepover. Since my brother is older. What about the brother being older? What does that mean? What are they trying to tell us? We don't know. So that cannot be a sentence by itself. Okay? So a dependent clause cannot be a sentence by itself, but an independent clause can. And that's the difference. Okay? In part 2, I'm going to show you what happens when the independent clause comes first.